Hi guys, today is Saturday, September 28th, and we've been parents for
5 days.
5 days?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's nuts. 5 days. Got Boston here, and we're going to talk a little bit about these two. So if you guys watched some of our videos, you know that Boston was born on Monday the 23rd, and then we left Wednesday? Thursday from the hospital. We would have left Wednesday if this one was doing all right. So this one in 2014 had a heart transplant when she was 18, and the doctors said that it would be advised to not have a baby or to get pregnant. But we got married in 2016, and we're like, okay, let's not do anything yet. And 3 years later, in 2018, 2 years later, 2 years later in 2018, we decided to try and get pregnant in October of 2018. And then in beginning of this year, 2019, we found out that we were pregnant with Boston.
So cute.
Okay, so with a little bit of background on that, so everything was great. Pregnancy was fine. The 9 months was fine. Even the birth was fine, as you saw in the video. We were in the hospital for 7 hours, and Melissa only pushed for 20 minutes, and then Boston was here. She might not remember this, but so after that, we went up to the room, and it was about, she was good up until about 8, 9 o'clock, and then we were kind of asleep, sleepish. And at about 10:45, they came in and did a check on her to see how her postpartum bleeding was.
Well, I had to go to the bathroom too.
Yeah, and she had to go to the bathroom, and she went to the bathroom, and they noticed that she was losing a lot of blood, and so at about 10:40 they brought in a hemorrhage cart and decided that she was hemorrhaging, which they later called postpartum hemorrhaging. She lost about 1,800 milliliters of blood, which is about 1.8 liters of blood, and we only have 5 liters of blood in our body, so she became anemic. They didn't give her any blood yet. They just tried to control the bleeding. And by doing this, they gave her a drug called Pitocin, which helps the uterus contract and was helping stop the bleeding. So after that was all done and over with, we got somewhat of a good night's sleep, a little bit. Do you remember that at all?
I kept checking on him.
Yeah, it was our first night, very first night. This was Monday night, very first night with him, and so we were up like every 5 seconds checking on him. So it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. It was about 4:55 in the morning, almost 5 o'clock in the morning. And the nurse came in and woke Melissa up to check on her, check her vitals. And then Melissa remembered, oh, it's time to feed Boston. And so she got Boston into her left arm, or into her right arm, left arms. And the nurse had just left. I had woken up from the couch, and she started to try and breastfeed him, and noticed that she was shaky, and she said, why am I so shaky? And then twitched her left arm and then went into a seizure. that was really scary for me. I grabbed Boston and put him in his crib and tried to figure out what was going on, and noticed that her face and her jaw was locked up and her body started to shake and was really stiff. And so I pushed the nurse button and tilted her head to the side, and the nurse answered, and I said, she's having a seizure, she's having a seizure. And then things kind of went from there. They came in and started giving her CPR, just the respirations, and she started to receive those respirations. And then I don't know if they started her on any drugs right away, but anyways, they got her back to breathing with oxygen. And that was Tuesday morning. So from Tuesday morning to Wednesday night.
Tuesday night.
Was it 24 hours? Or
It was just a day, yeah.
a day. They decided to put her on magnesium, which completely made her a zombie. I don't know if any of you remember. Oh, my light's dying. Remember or know what magnesium does, but it definitely calms the nerves and definitely relaxes everything. And she was definitely a zombie for those 2 days. But after talking to the nurses and to the doctors, we decided to ask if she could ease off the magnesium to see if more of her personality could come back. And eventually, later that night, Wednesday morning at 1:30 a.m., they took her off the magnesium and took her off her IV. And then that morning, Wednesday morning, later on that day, they gave her a transfusion, gave her 2 units of blood to bring her back from the anemic state. And then Thursday afternoon, we left. And we came home, and then you guys know the rest of that story. But just my thoughts on this whole situation is, I love that everything happens for a reason, and that a higher being is there to know that everything's going to be okay. And that higher being definitely knew the situation I was in my life before Boston was born, and knew that I needed this trial in my life to understand the love that he gives me, and to know that, and to show me that life is full of ups and downs, but as long as we do what he says, that he'll bless us. And he definitely blessed us with a perfect little boy, Boston. And yeah. You have anything to say?
Well, what I remember from this week is I gave birth, and then you handed me him, not the nurse. You started to hand me Boston, and I started twitching or whatever, and I was asking why, so you took him, and then the next thing I remember, I woke up and there were nurses all around me. Didn't know why, didn't know what happened. I just knew that something happened because there were nurses around me.
Okay. That's it.
That's all.
We love you guys. Thanks for watching our videos. Subscribe down below. Follow us on Facebook at Park Production Studios. We're going to try to do these videos 3 times a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. I know it's kind of weird, but yeah, we love you guys, and thanks for everything you guys do. Love ya.